There were three things Awele feared in life: cockroaches, poverty, and village people. But as fate would have it, only one of them ended up dragging her 6 feet below. She developed a strange habit. She would wake up each morning, open Instagram, and stroll through reels of other people's relationships like it was part of her daily devotion. It wasn't jealousy, it was done with genuine awe and admiration. She watched as women posted videos of surprise breakfast in bed, expensive perfumes wrapped with handwritten notes, and cute faced boyfriends kneeling in front of flowers, asking, "Will you be my wife?" Awele would smile, shake her head slowly, and whisper to no one in particular, "I am not angry, but I just want to know whether my own has boarded or is still at the motor park." She became tired of pretending she didn't care when people flaunted love and watching women get pampered while she was in her room, single to stupor. It became worse on Valentine's Day. That week alone, she had seen 3 engagement videos, 5 surprise hotel room makeovers, and one particular couple that struck her heart like thunder. The wife posted, "He said I worked too hard, so he flew me to Dubai for the weekend and said I should just rest. Can your Odogu ever?" Awele stared at that caption for so long. She read it again, then looked at her own surroundings. She sighed deeply, and the comments under the post were wild. "I send you eczema and malaria from my room." She chuckled softly, but her heart didn't join in the laughter because the truth was, she had done everything right. She kept herself. She prayed. She didn't disturb anybody's relationship, yet somehow it seemed like love was allergic to her address. That evening, after watching a lovely couple video that made her cry, she sat up, cleaned her face, and said, "Even if it's an online love that will find me, let it come already. Kai, I am tired of pretending that I'm okay." No show for her until one morning. Her alarm rang by 5:45 a.m., but before her feet touched the floor, she did what many people do even without communicating with their Father in heaven. She reached for her phone, turned on her data, and as the WhatsApp and Instagram notifications were loading, she saw, "You have a new friend request" on her Facebook notification. She clicked it. His name was Dayo Williams. His profile picture showed a man with a nice haircut sitting inside what looked like a car with clean seat covers, and his bio read, "Christ lover, tech consultant, and a traveler." Awele stared at the screen for a few seconds. She smiled a little, but of course she didn't accept it. She did normal girlish shakara. She stood up and went about her day. That was on a Monday. Tuesday passed, nothing. Wednesday came. She clicked on his profile again, saw a birthday photo of him holding a wine glass and wearing a white kaftan. She zoomed into his face. It was so clean. She even checked mutual friends. Still, she didn't accept his request. Then, on Thursday afternoon, when she felt the shakara was enough, she clicked accept. No message came in immediately. He didn't rush her. In fact, she thought he probably forgot. But a few hours later, just before bedtime, he messaged her. "Hi Awele, thank you for accepting. I hope your week has been kind to you." Polite, no emoji overload, no dry soap or "hello dear" or "eye angle" instead of angel. Just normal, intelligent conversation. Awele read it again and smiled. Then she left it unread. After all, shakara is part of the journey. Abi, is it because of just one Facebook DM she will now fall like overripe mango? But the next morning, as she hugged her pillow, a soft feeling wrapped itself around her chest. Maybe, just maybe, my own Godwin had finally found signal. She didn't know that this particular signal had a deadline. If someone like Tenny, her friend who worked in tech support, had seen Dio Williams' profile picture, she would have hissed and blocked him on sight. Everything about his profile screamed 419 starter pack. The pictures were too polished. Same facial angle, same forced smile, and same background that looked like it was edited with a free app from Play Store. His captions were even more suspicious. Grateful for grace, Dubai soon, or some wins don't need noise. I move in silence. And then the classic line in his bio: Christ lover, tech consultant, and a traveler. To a tech savvy eye, he screamed no work history, no tag photos, no interaction from reference, just motivational captions and clean shoes. But to Awele, my brothers and sisters, to that lady, that profile looked like the manifestation of 6 months of midnight prayers. The background? To her, only people with iPhones do that. The bio? A tech consultant who travels. That one already meant she was going to be traveling very soon, even if it was to Lokoja. The Dubai post? She didn't even care if it was a throwback from Google. The fact that he was claiming Dubai already meant he wasn't thinking small. She called it a king mentality. Even his profile name, Dio Williams, sounded like money. Not just wealth, but old money. The type that doesn't shout but will casually send you money just to make you smile. She clicked on his photos again, zoomed in, and was smiling. In fact, the more she stared, the more convinced she became that this was the beginning of her own love story. The one she would one day type on Facebook with a caption: he sent me a friend request and we are getting married. She started fantasizing about couples vacation with him, matching outfits and birthday surprises in hotel rooms filled with rose petals. She didn't know that this same future she was daydreaming about would soon drag her into an illness she wouldn't be able to explain. While she was busy admiring his profile, calculating how she would save his name as my hero, Dio Williams, or whatever his real name was sitting in a small self-contained room in Ketu, shirtless, chewing dry biscuits and refreshing her page for a reply. The only real thing about him was the urgency of his plan. He had already given himself 2 weeks. That's 14 solid days, the maximum time he needed to do what he always did: sweet talk, soften, cash out, and vanish. He looked at Awele's profile again. Pretty face with few followers. He nodded. To him, she would be a walkover. He had been doing this for almost a year, changing names, rotating SIM cards, alternating between tech consultants, crypto coach, and sometimes music producer. It all depended on the kind of woman he was targeting. He already had a strategy. The one was to introduce himself gently with no pressure, which he had already done. The three was to start voice notes and make her laugh. The five was to ask about her dreams, then tell her he wants to support her hustle. The seven was to drop the hook. Baby, I want to see you. The 10 was to send small money for transportation, maybe 10,000 naira or 15,000 naira, enough to sound serious. And the 14, if she comes, he will do what he knows how to do best. So he started slowly with harmless DMs filled with compliments and small teasing. He typed like someone raised by literature teachers. You have such a calm aura. I can almost feel it through your post. Awele blushed the first time she read that. Calm aura care. If only he knew she was replying while dragging her neighbor's child from fetching water with her own bucket. But she played along, replied with, "Oh," and laugh out loud. You are just hyping me. And like play like joke. Dio moved from DM to voice notes, then from voice notes to full-blown phone calls. With a deep, warm voice, he called her every night, talked about random things, music, goals, faith, childhood stories. And whenever he laughed, it was that slow, rich boy kind of laugh that made Awele imagine he was lying down shirtless on his bed with fluffy pillows. She got used to the attention and she began looking forward to it. She started dreaming again, started checking her mirror more often, even changed her WhatsApp profile picture to a filtered selfie just so he could find her more attractive. Then one night he said it. Babe, I really want to see you, even if it's just for a day. You don't know what you have done to my heart. She smiled like a she-goat being called beautiful. He continued, send your account number. Let me take care of your transport. I want to spoil my baby. That was how 12,000 naira landed in her account. I only stared at the alerts like someone seeing miracle money. Her heart danced. Her eyes watered, not because of love, but because at that very moment she had exactly 320 naira to her name, 2 cubes of mangi and nothing else. She looked around her small room. No gas, no foodstuff, not even Gary. She sighed deep and said, now who dey alive they do love oh. She didn't even think twice. That same evening, she went to the market, bought small rice, groundnut oil, Titus and pepper, even added 2 sachets of milk to spoil herself small. She cooked stew, ate and felt life return to her body. But as she was washing her plates, the guilt kicked in. She opened WhatsApp and typed, hey babe, I'm so sorry, I won't be able to come this weekend. Something came up. Dayo replied, what came up? She waited 10 minutes. Still, she had no idea of what to say. She typed again. I will explain later, but I can't make it. Kindly understand with me. She didn't mention the stew or the Titus or the milk she licked like ice cream. When Dayo sent that 12,000 naira, he wasn't being generous. He was being intentional. He wasn't just trying to see her. He was trying to move her because Dayo wasn't into women for love. According to him, love doesn't pay a dime, and love is for soft boys who have time to waste. His hustle was different. Behind his fake tech consultant story, he was deeply entangled in moving and investing people. He was into full-blown underground operations with a syndicate that moved girls like goose, from naive to missing and to never found. The plan was simple. Reel her in with love, send her transport, get her to the guest house and hand her over. She wouldn't even know what hit her. Time was the enemy. Every wasted day cost him money and trust from his boss, a man called Alhaji Kaburu, who didn't smile unless someone had been handed over to him. So when 3 days passed and Awele didn't show up or even say a proper thank you, Dayo began to boil inside. He paced his room, checked his phone every 30 minutes. No updates and no travel plans, just WhatsApp status of food and motivational quotes like, God's time is the best, and if it doesn't work out, it wasn't meant to be. He nearly smashed his phone. The fourth night, he sent a message. Babe, I was expecting you since Friday. What happened? She didn't reply immediately. Then after almost an hour, she sent him a message. Hey, I have been really sick. I couldn't even stand up. I wanted to call, but I didn't have the strength. I am so sorry. For a second, he clenched his jaw. Sick? She said she's sick? That girl na very stupid girl oh. I know she's lying and must have used the money to chicken out. He wanted to lash out, call her names and threaten her. But no, he was too smart for that. So instead, he typed, no now baby, you should have told me. Come on, I was worried. Please rest well for me. You know I love you and don't stress yourself. When you feel better, let me know. And if you ask me, next weekend will be fine so I can take my time to pamper you for real. Okay? Awele's heart melted like ice block in generator heat. She smiled and said, "Oh, he's so understanding, so patient and so sweet." She didn't know that behind that kind voice was a devil setting a second trap. Weekend came and Awele refused to be healed from her imaginary sickness. And just like that, 4 Saturdays came and went with different excuses from her. Sickness, family emergency, period pain, and a wedding she couldn't miss. The truth? She wanted to go. She even planned it once. But each time she was about to travel, a cold wave of unease would settle on her chest like heavy clothes. Her spirits just wouldn't agree. Even her dreams became strange. She would see shadows dragging her leg and a man in black smiling while sharpening a blade. She didn't understand it, but she obeyed it, so she stayed. Meanwhile, Tayo was boiling. By the fourth week, he had lost his spot in the delivery house, and his boss had stopped taking his calls. He was now just one broke, bitter scammer sitting on a low stool in Kettle with shame crawling all over him. He didn't message Awele in 5 days, and Awele thought that the whole drama had passed just like that. She was consoled that she lost nothing but gained 12,000 naira. One particular night, as NEPA took light and heat slapped Dayo's body, he picked up his phone and typed, "Awele, let me be very factual because I think you want to play smart here. I don't love you and I never did because you were never special to me." It was around 11:45 p.m. She read the message once and again just to be sure. She replied slowly, "Where is this coming from?" He responded within minutes. "From the beginning, I was never what you thought I was. I had plans, but you didn't follow through and you wasted my time. So now I am done pretending." Awele's fingers shook. She didn't know what to feel. Shock? Fear? Or even betrayal? She typed again. "What kind of plans?" No reply came from Dayo's end, just blue ticks and stillness. Suddenly, all the pieces started coming together. The rush, the transport fare, the constant pressure to come see him, the bad dreams and the unrest whenever she packed her bags. She didn't know exactly what she had just escaped, but her instinct told her it was deeper than a bad date. And she didn't know that somewhere in his range, Dayo had taken one last desperate step to report her to something darker than men. Something that didn't understand excuses. Something that didn't forgive refunds and something that worked on blood and revenge. Awele thought the worst was over, but it was only just the beginning. After Dayo drummed the bombshell, "I don't love you and I'm not a good person," he thought Awele would beg or at least panic, but she didn't. She simply went silent and that silence infuriated him. So the next morning, he sent another message. "Send my money back. Here is my account details. I don't care how small, but refund it or face the consequences." No greeting, no babe, and no soft landing. He waited. 2 hours passed. No alert, no response, and no apology. Then his phone buzzed. Awele had replied. Just one voice note, a short one, less than 20 seconds, but it landed like thunder. "So you thought you were the hunter, right? But you have been haunted. You picked the wrong girl and you entered the wrong house. I am not sending any money back. Block me if you are tired." Then she did it first. "Yes, Yes, she blocked him everywhere. Dayo was stunned. He blinked like someone who had just been slapped. This girl knows the fear, oh, he muttered. He stood up from his stool, paced the room. His mouth was dry and his ego was wounded. Now, his last resort wasn't his phone, it was revenge. No problem, he said out loud. Let me hand you over to something you cannot block. The next weekend, he traveled to his father's village in Edo State, a quiet, dusty place nestled between cocoa trees and ancient silence. It wasn't his first time making that kind of trip, but this one was different. He went straight to the bush part where the village ancestral shrine stood, a small mud hut with white chalk circles on the ground, bloodstains on the threshold, and a carved wooden image inside wearing a red cloth and cowries. He didn't need permission. His late grandfather had been the chief priest, and the spiritual blood still ran in the family. The current priest was an old man named Pa Iduwe, who didn't ask questions. He just nodded as Dayo explained. She took my money. She refused to refund. She insulted me and blocked me. I am tired of trying to be calm. Paidu spat on the ground and said, drop what is required. Dayo placed a black fowl, a bottle of gin, 2,000 naira cash, a red candle, and a leaf with Awele's name written in charcoal. Her name is Awele Ogbonna. I want her to feel worse than what I felt. The priest didn't speak. He simply lit the candle, circled the shrine, murmured incantations, and poured the gin on the earth. That was on a Saturday. By the following Thursday, Awele began to cough. Not just an ordinary cough. It was a dry, hot, endless cough, as if dust had settled inside her soul. By the next week, her eyes were red, her stomach swelled, her hands trembled, and her skin color changed like the life was quietly leaking out of her. She stopped eating, she stopped smiling, and she couldn't sleep. Her mother panicked. They rushed her to the general hospital. Tests were run, but results came out clean. There is nothing medically wrong with her, the doctor said. They took her to a private clinic. The same thing. They switched to herbal mixtures, boiled leaves, bitter roots, and black soap baths. Still, no improvement. Each night she would cry in her sleep. Sometimes she would wake up screaming, saying she saw a man covered in red cloth standing at the foot of her bed. Other times, she said she was sinking, like being pulled into the ground. People started to whisper. Are you sure she didn't offend anyone? This one looks like an arrow. Let's carry her to the old seer in Umunede. Her father agreed. Of course, anything to keep his daughter alive, but nothing changed. They didn't know where the sickness came from, but it was clear now that it wasn't ordinary. On the third week of this mysterious illness, after the sixth hospital had given up and the seventh herbalist said, this one passed my hand, Awele finally remembered. She was lying on a mat, her head shaved clean so the herbs could enter very well when her mind flashed back like lightning. Send my money back or face the consequences. I don't love you and I am not a good person. She sat up slowly, ignoring the dizziness that came with every movement. Her mother rushed to her side, holding her shoulder. Awele, what is it? Did you see anything? She didn't answer. She just stared blankly at the wall, her heart pounding like thunder behind her ribs. Tayo escaped from her lips. She picked up her phone with trembling hands, opened WhatsApp, searched his name and unblocked the number, but there was no profile picture, no status and no last seen. She opened Facebook, typed his name, Dayo Williams. Nothing, not even old photos. She checked Messenger history. Gone. She checked Instagram and the user was not found. Her hands were shaking now and her breathing shallow. She scrolled to her call log. His number was still there. She dialed it. Once, twice, and three times, but it was dropping on its own. Her throat tightened. Tears rolled slowly down her cheeks. She was no longer crying out of pain, but from fear. For the first time since the sickness began, she feared she might die. 2 days later, she couldn't eat anything. Her body had become paper thin, her cheeks hollow, and her voice barely above a whisper. The girl who once laughed at reels and prayed for Instagram kind of love now lay on a mat, watching ceiling cobwebs like a prisoner waiting for her verdict. That afternoon, the compound was unusually quiet. Her mother had gone to call the herbalist again. Her father sat outside, grinding bitter kola into powder. The air felt stiff, like even the wind was holding its breath. Awele asked for one person. Amarachi, her best friend since secondary school, the only one she ever truly trusted. She arrived in tears, breathless, clutching a black nylon bag filled with fruits Awele could no longer eat. She knelt beside her. Awele, please don't go. Just tell us what happened. I know something else is behind this thing. Awele blinked slowly and opened up. It was 12,000 naira. Oh. Amarachi frowned. What 12,000 naira? Awele inhaled deeply, the breath inching like it had thorns. I met a guy called Dayo on Facebook and he sent it. He said he wanted to see me. I didn't go. I used it to cook and eat. She paused, her eyes welled up. Then he told me that he's not a good person and I should refund the money or face it. I blocked him because I didn't believe it would become this. Amarachi was shocked beyond words. Jesus Christ, she whispered. Awele, why didn't you tell someone? Why didn't you speak up? Awele turned her head slowly toward her eyes already glassy, as she gave a faint, weak smile. I thought I was smart. I thought I could eat and move on, but I ate the one that had hooked my throat. She blinked, then her voice softened further. Tell my mother that I'm sorry. Tell her I didn't mean to bring this home. And just like that, her body jerked, then went still. Amarachi screamed. Neighbors rushed in. Her father and her mother came running barefoot. People poured water, called her name, shook her, lifted her hands, but Awele was gone just 20 minutes after confessing. When she died, Dayo didn't even know. He had stopped checking her profile and now assumed she was just another bitter girl who blocked and moved on. What he didn't know was that the shrine had answered his request and the custom of his people. You do not ask a deity to carry out punishments and walk away. If the spirit acts on your behalf, you must return with a he-goat, wine, cola, and with gratitude. If you don't, the same spirit will turn against you. But Dayo, blind and arrogant, never returned. He never poured libations. He never gave thanks and he thought it was over until 3 months later when a young girl went missing. Then another. Then the third before the fourth escaped and spoke up. One Tuesday morning, while Dayo was returning from a supposed business trip through a remote footpath, he was apprehended, not by SARS and not by police officers, but by the area boys and the fathers of the daughters who never came home. They didn't wait for questions. They didn't argue and they didn't even give him time to deny. They stripped him bare, tied his hands and dragged him to the village square. Prior to this time, Pa Iduwe, the same old priest who had taken his items months before, spat on the ground and said, You didn't come back. You used the gods and then you disrespected them. Because of this, your hands are now soaked in other people's tears. As Dayo was apprehended, he began to cry. Real tears, not from guilt, but from knowing that it was over. The crowd didn't flinch. They brought out machetes, hot charcoal, and used tires. And by sundown, his chapter ended. not with court dates or long trials, but with the aforementioned. Hey, African Tales by Karma Tribe, how are you all doing? For me, I am doing just fine. I hope you learned one or two things from the story. If yes, let me get to read from you in the comments. Before I leave today, I would like to quickly say this. In a world where evil wears perfumes and smiles in HD photos, we must all walk with wisdom. Please, I beg you all, don't trade your safety for small money. You see that 12,000 naira transportation fare, it is never worth Awele's life. If someone online is in a hurry to see you, if they're in a hurry to finance you or they're pressuring you, please pause. Calm down, ask questions, do your checks, and most importantly, listen to your inner voice. You see that warning that you feel, the unease in your chest, pay close attention to them because they are not ordinary. Let us all learn from Awele's story and be guided. Let's also not forget that the world is now survivor of the fittest. So do not carelessly project yourself as the prey, no matter what. Let me end today's story with this. Na who die? Na him lose oh. Please give it a thumbs up and do not forget to share out. If you have not subscribed to